All right, so today we're going to talk about the whole numbers. So the units 1.1 all the way to 1.6 from the book. So we first going to talk about the whole numbers, identify them and the different placements of the digits. Then we're also going to learn some addition, subtraction of whole numbers. And at the end, we're going to see how to multiply and divide these whole numbers. So this is basically like a little review on basic arithmetics. So everybody should know how to do this comfortably and also fast, because in this class we're not allowed to use calculators. So we expect you to do these operations fairly quickly and accurately. Okay, so you may seem a little, I would say, too a little too easy for you. Sometimes make it a little, let's say, maybe too easy, like I said, but don't worry about it. This is just to make you comfortable doing the math quickly, manually, instead of using calculators or phones or things like that. So let's first talk about whole numbers, see what they are, and see how to actually write them in word formats. Okay, so let me use my fancy pen here. I'm using this tablet with a pen for the first time, so my writing might not be as seamless and easy as I would love to, but I think I'm getting used to it. So, okay, so let's talk a little bit about whole numbers. Okay, so let's say yes, 2, 7, 5, 4, 3. So this is a number here. This is a whole number. It does not have a decimal point. Otherwise, it would be a decimal number, not a whole number. So a whole number does not have a decimal part, unless you want to add 0.00 to the end of the number. But for now, no decimals. All you see is just a whole number. But we can separate these with commas. Okay, comma here. So we count 3 digits, one group, and then we move on to the next. We count another 3 and we put a comma. So this is not a decimal point, it's just a comma to separate one group of numbers from the other. Okay, so let's try to identify each one of these placement values and name it. So for example, the very first digit to the right of the number, what is this placement value called? What do we call this place, or the numbers that are in that place?
What place you talking about?
The very first one.
The one. That's the one place.
Exactly, the ones. And then you have
the tens.
That's right, the tens, and so on, the hundreds. Hundreds. It's a little hard to write with this new device, but I'm getting used to it, like I said. Let me go back. Okay, so the second one we said is the hundreds. Oops. And of course we have the thousands. Then we have the 10,000. And then what comes after the 10,000s here? So 1,000.
100.
That's right.
Go ahead.
100,000s.
Okay.
Finally, once we were done with the 100,000s, what is the name of the first digit in the next group?
Million.
That's right. So we have the ones, tens, hundreds. This second group is for the thousands, and the third group is for the millions. You have the millions here. And of course, we have the 10 millions and the 100 millions, and so on. After that, the billions. So that's basically what a what a whole number is made of. But for this class, we're probably going to do up to the millions. We're not going to do the billions. Okay, so each placement value, each digit belongs to a specific placement value. And we use those when we add and subtract. It's very important to align those placement values. Of course, if I gave you a number like this, another example. Okay, and let's say what digit is in the hundreds position? From this number here, what digit, what number is in the hundreds position?
The number that we doing? That you just wrote down?
No, which,
Oh,
so
okay,
we have,
that's it.
okay, so we have a whole number here, millions, thousands, and hundreds.
The seven.
So again, the question is, what number is in the hundreds position? Hundreds. From this whole number. What digit?
The 8.
That's right. It's the 8.
I don't see, oh, okay.
Okay. So
See
again,
all
we have
that.
the ones, the tens, the hundreds. You have the thousands, or the 10,000s, the 100,000s, the millions, and 10 millions. Let's say now, what is the what number is in the 10,000s position?
The 5.
Exactly. The 5 is in the 10,000s position. In other words, this placement value. What number is in the millions position? The millions.
The 2.
Very good. The millions. What do we call the next placement, the next digit? Millions, then?
10 million.
That's right, 10 millions. And what's the last one?
100 million.
Exactly. 100 million. Okay, so that's a little introduction to whole numbers. Again, numbers that don't have decimal numbers on them may have commas to separate groups, but no, no decimal points. Now it's to help to write these numbers in words. So you know, sometimes you may have to write an amount in both in numbers and also in words. So let's see how to do that. But first, let's actually write these two numbers here. These very numbers here. I'm going to try to write them in words. So number 2 here. Again, numbers into words. Hi, can someone read this whole number for us? So we have 27, comma, 543, comma, 678, comma. If we had to read that whole number in one shot, what would you say? Where do you start from?
27,000 million.
27. So what this place is for the millions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's read that first, and then we go to the thousands here.
27,000 million, right?
27.
27 million.
27 million.
That's right. So let's write that first. So
Yeah.
So each group has, you can say 27 million.
543,000. 678.
Okay, so 27 million, and then that comma, and then you said
543,000.
exactly. Let's write that first. 5
678,000.
143,000
and 678.
exactly. And let's set this comma, and then the last part, the easy part,
78.
678. Exactly. 7. $70. Then you want to put that little dash. When you have 25 or 43 or 27, there's a little dash or hyphen between the numbers. So 27, 78. And that's basically your number. So you'll be asked either to write a number like this into words, or I may give you words and I'll ask you to turn those into a digital form with just numbers. So keep in mind, again, the thousands, the 1/10 up to the hundreds here. Then you have the thousands, and you have the millions here. So each group must be separated with a comma, whether you write in the words or the actual digits. So let me see if we can do another one. Yeah, let's do this one as well, the one we talked about earlier. Okay, so let's do another sec. So we have 102, comma 74, 754, and then 819. As always, so this is the millions, the thousands, and the hundreds. Someone give me the first group. How do you say this?
100 million. To the
Uh,
first group.
Say the whole thing. Say this whole group.
100 million and I don't know how to pronounce it. 100 million
100,
and
102 million. 100.
102 million.
Okay, let me write that first. So 102 million. Oops, this pen.
Bro, she always need a hill.
100 when my pen freezes. Or you could say 102 million. 102 million. Please mute your mic, or if you have background noise. I can hear some noise in the background there. Okay, that's the first group. 102 million. Then,
Hello, Professor.
hello. Okay, the second group here. Could someone say this for us?
754,000.
Okay, 754,000 without the end. Okay, there's no end when you write whole numbers. There is no end anywhere unless you're dealing with decimals. That's when you turn the decimal into the word end. If you have 0.5, you say and 5. But for whole numbers, there is no end anywhere. So 700. $54. $50. Okay, don't forget that little dash here between 50 and 4, 54,000. Okay, so
891.
exactly. So we're done with this group. Close with a comma, and then move on to the next 800 annual. 891.
Oh no, no.
Okay, so again, you will be given numbers or sentences and words. And you will have to turn those into either a sentence like this or into digits. Now actually there's an E here. Okay, so get used to doing this. Please mute your mic if you have noise. I believe it's you, Tiffany. Just keep it muted.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I appreciate your participation, but you can mute it for now. So again, this is important because we need to learn how to write numbers. For example, if you're writing a check, as you know, you write the amount both in digits and then in words. So you want to know how to write your own checks. You don't want to ask somebody else to do it for you. So it may seem a little silly now, but it's really important. And it might not be as easy as you might think. Okay, sometimes it can get confusing. So the more you train yourself, the more you practice, the better. All right, so let's see what is the next thing here. So write numbers in words and digits and read a table. There's another thing here I want to talk about. It's called the expanded form and the standard form of whole numbers. I'm looking at it, but it's not in the book, but I'm gonna go over it anyway. Okay, so let's call this number 3. All right, this pen is a little annoying. Oops, there we go. Okay, the standard and expanded form of whole numbers. What this means is, let me adjust this pen a little bit first. This basically means breaking down the numbers into each placement value. So take basically a number, let's say 7, 8, and 9. So each one of these digits belongs to a specific value. So how many hundreds do we have in this number? How many hundreds in this number? We have 7, right? So you can say 700. That's the hundredth position. How many tens?
8.
Right? So 8 tens, that means 80. 8 times 10 is 80. Finally, we have the ones, we have 9 on the ones.
9.
Okay, so this is the standard form. And this is the expanded form. Basically, we break down the numbers into placement values. So as we saw earlier up here, you have the ones, you have the tens, the hundreds, all together into one number. So this is the standard form. This is the expanded. So you may be given a number like this to write it in this form, or in this form, or write it in this one. So it's pretty simple. Just remember that standard and expanded. It's so of course when you add all these up, you get your original number, which is this. Another way of writing this also, we can write it this way, as instead of vertical, we're gonna write it horizontal like this. So 700 plus 80 plus 9. Okay, so that's so another way of writing these whole numbers. It could be a large number. It could be, let's say, 52, 7, 2, 3, and something like this. Okay, so same way, it's going to be a large expanded form. So you can write it either like this, or you can also write it as a vertical line. So this one is a little bit longer, so let's write it in a vertical line. All right, so what do I write first? So remember, each one of these will have its own value or its own line. Maybe it's probably easier to write them vertically, okay? So give me the very first line, the vertical line like this. How does it go? Give me all the digits. Obviously, the highest placement value is 5, okay? How are you gonna write that? 5 followed by what? Just the 5, how many? 5, first of all, 5 is what placement value?
After 10 million.
Is the
521,000.
no, not 500, it's in the million, so it's,
Oh,
it should write just the millions by himself. Basically, you just take this digit and turn,
5 million.
that's right. So take this digit and turn everything else into zeros.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it's gonna be 5
5 million.
and 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. We're done with this. Now we're gonna move to the next one. We're gonna take this number and turn all these into zeros.
So 2,000.
Not 2,000. It's in, but still in the million position. So it'll be 2
million.
2 million. That's right.
Oh, yeah, because it's in the million position.
That's right. And it's gonna be right under the 10, the ones here, the 1 million. So the 1 millions and the 10 millions here. The ones, basically this is the ones for the million, and the rest turn into zeros. What else?
And 1 million.
No,
that's a comma. Oh,
that's we did a comma. Then we have 7 here. So 7 what?
7,000.
Not 7,000. It would have been here. You should be
700,000.
700,000.
700,000. So we're gonna move on to the hundreds. I mean the thousands. So we're gonna put 700,000. Then
200,000.
not 200. This is in the tens. In the tens of the thousands.
20,000.
20,000.
20,000 exactly. And again, make sure you align your numbers correctly here. Let me redo that. This little tablet pen is very slippery. So 20,000. Notice that I put the ones here, the tens here, not over here. Otherwise, it will be the 100,000s.
Okay.
Comma 0, 0. Finally, what do I write? I have one more thing to write, and why do I do it?
30,000.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We still have to put the 3,000 there.
30,000.
What else? We don't have anything here. We don't have anything here. Where does this one go exactly here? Where exactly does it go?
Oh, what?
All the way to?
Yeah, all the way to the end.
To the end, that's right, to the right. Because this is the ones. We don't have the tens, we don't have the hundreds. That's why we don't have those lines. You could put zeros in them, but you won't change anything. So the 1 belongs here, not here. If you put it over here, it will be wrong, it will be 10. If you put it here, it will be 1,000. And of course, if you add all these up, you should get exactly this number. So you add vertically 1, 0, 0, then 0, 0, 0, 3, then 0, 0, 0, 2. Okay, if you add these, you get 7, comma, and you add these two, have 2 and 5. As you can see, it's exactly the same as this number. So again, this is called the standard form. And this one, what do we call this one again?
Expanded.
Exactly. So we have standard and we have expanded. As you see, we expanded it into unique or individual place value. So this is the expanded form. All right. Another thing is, which we should have done here, is when you have words into digits. So we did digits into words. So let's do a couple of examples of that here. Okay, let's do that somewhere here. We're gonna call that words into digits. Let me make up some numbers and I'll let you give me the digital form. So give you the word forms and you give me the digital form. So let's say so 5,000 for actually let me change that. Let's say 504,000 28. Be very careful here when you. This is probably more challenging than digits to words. Okay, I should have said 500. Excuse me, let me rewrite that. I'm making this up, so I gotta make it right. I'm trying to make some round results, so I say 500. Yep, that would be 5. Okay, so 504, comma, 28. Someone give me in digits, one by one, that number. So think about the groups. So how many groups of numbers do we have here? So we always have one group for the hundreds, another one for the thousands, the other one for the millions. How many groups do we have in this number?
Four groups.
I think it's 5.
Not digits, just the groups. So if you see here, so we have one group.
Oh. Yeah.
We have the thousand and the millions. Each group has 3 digits. So in the sentence or the word, the phrase that I just wrote, how many groups do you think we have? Do we have the millions? We don't have the millions, right? So we're gonna have basically
We have 1,000.
2 groups, one like this and the other one like this. Each group must have 3 digits. Must have, even though you don't see the digits here, you must have 3 digits. If you don't have a digit, a specific place and value, if not it's not explicitly said here, then that's basically a 0. All right, let's start with the first part. How do you write this here in the thousand position? Give me the digits, 1, 2, 3. So we have this is the thousands, the ones, the hundreds, the tens and the hundreds of the thousands. What digit goes into each one of these? Basically here, 504,000. 500.
504.
Exactly, 5, 0, and 4. So think of it first as 504. 504 by itself. This is it. And because it's in the placement of the thousand, we add that to it. Comma. And then give me the second part, 28. Again, be very careful here. I have to have 3 digits here, even though you see 2 here, but I have to have 3. Give me exactly the 3 digits of this group.
028.
Exactly. So we have a 0 here.
Yeah.
Just because you see 28 doesn't mean you need to write 28. That's wrong. This looks like 280 or something. So first you ask about, you see if you have the hundreds. Since we don't have the hundreds here, That means we have 0 hundreds. There's no hundreds. You have to put a 0 first, then the 28. 2 and the tens, 8 and the ones. So be careful here. I see people making this mistake a lot. And this is completely different from if you wrote this. If you wrote it this way, you see how different that is. It's completely a different number. So do not make that mistake. Remember, always have 3 groups. So if your sentence has up to the millions, you gotta have 3 groups. If it has up to the billions, you're gonna have 4 groups. Most of the time, I'll give you up to the millions. So every time you see a sentence, and if the millions is mentioned, then immediately think about something like this. Immediately think about a number like this. You gotta have 3 here, no matter what, another 3, and then another 3. Even if you don't see them here, you see them here in this sentence, you still have to have them. First, set up like an empty number like this with these spaces or blanks, and then fill in the numbers as you go. If you hear the word billions here, then you gotta add another group, 1, 2, 3, and depending on the word, the phrase, put the right digits here. If it's up to the thousands, as in here, we only needed 2 groups. Okay, so we didn't need any more digits. Okay, does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Any questions? Okay, again, this is some basic stuff that you need to know before we move on to other more important things. How's the writing, by the way, so far? You guys getting everything clearly, or how am I doing with the writing?
It's okay.
It's okay so
Yeah.
far, right?
So far, so good.
All right. I'll try to improve as I go. It's really very tricky here, and it keeps slipping and keeps going all over the place. All right, let's probably, let me see if we can make another one. Let's see. Say 25 million. 7,000, and finally, let's say 2. First of all, how many groups am I gonna have? Or in total, how many digits? Or let's maybe start with the groups. How many groups of numbers am I gonna have? How many groups of 3? Since we have the millions, that means we're gonna have how many groups? Again, there's always one group here, up to the hundreds, and then we have second group for the thousands, and the millions has third group. Okay, so the millions means you're gonna have 6 digits. Millions, you're gonna have not necessarily 6 digits, but 3 groups, each group with 3. So again, 1, 2, 3, that's for the millions. 1, 2, 3, thousands. 1, 2, 3, 4, the hundreds, tens, and ones. All right, let's start from here. Give me the first group here. What digits do I write here? 25 million. Give me all 3 digits specifically. $25 million. We want to fill in this group with 3 digits. What goes into each digit from here? Take a guess. It's worth a shot.
$25.
Okay, give me all 3 digits. Okay, where do you write 25? Where do you want to put it?
In the second place.
Okay, what goes in this one?
The 5.
The 5. That's right. And of course the 2 here. What about this? What goes here? Nothing or?
A 0.
That's right, or 0. Since we don't have 100 millions, we can just put 0 or nothing at all. But to make things consistent, always try to come up with 3 digits. Second group, 7,000. Give me exactly what goes in these 3. We need all of them, by the way. You only see one number here. It doesn't mean you only need one number. We're going to need 3 digits, no matter what they are. It could be zeros and something, but give me all those 3 here. Start with
0, 75,
0 and
75.
where do you see 5?
Oh, 7. Oh, no. I thought it was 75,000.
Okay,
7,000.
So 0, then what else?
7, 0.
Not yet. If you put 7 here, it would be 70,000. If you put 7 here, it would be 70,000. But we only have 7,000.
7,000.
And you put 0 and the 7,
Exactly. So the 0 here, and of
and then
course,
the 7.
And number 7.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so be careful. It can be tricky like this. You would be tempted to just write 7 without these and comma. It would be a completely different number. And the last one also a little tricky. Give me the whole setup of these 3 digits.
0, 2.
Say it again.
0, 2.
Not just 0, 2.
0, 0, 2.
Exactly. 0, 0, and 2.
2.
Okay, so again, always put 3 digits, 3 dots. Each one must have a digits, whether you see it here or not.
The trick of that is like if it's million, all of that has to be with 3 digits, right?
If it's millions, then you know you gotta have 3 groups.
3 groups.
Okay, you must have those 3 groups. First, just start like this. 3 empty groups. If it's millions. If it's billions, then you're gonna add the next group. If it's trillions, which is what comes after, you're gonna add another 3.
Another 3.
And so on. Okay, and be careful when you have one word here, one digit. You still have to fill up every group. You have to fill up every place here, whether it's a number from here or if you don't have the hundreds, for example. We don't have the hundreds, we don't have the tens, just the ones, so it goes here. So again, this is a little more challenging than the other way around. Writing or reading
I think
numbers.
I'm understanding.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, this lecture will be posted to Blackboard. You guys can rewatch it later. I understand sometimes you may have to review and see things again. The more you practice, the more you watch things, of course, the better. Let's see. Now we're gonna move on to another thing. So we did this part. Yep, so you're gonna see plenty of homeworks like the homework problems based on that. From one thing to the other, name the placement value or write expanded form or the other way around. So it shouldn't be that bad. So the next part we're gonna talk about is, let me see the chapter here. Of course, we're gonna do some addition and subtractions. We all know those. We're all familiar with that, but we're gonna revisit it anyway. And before we go to the multiplication and division. Multiplication and division can be a little tricky, but addition and subtractions are pretty straightforward. So let's dive in right into addition and subtraction. What numbers are we up to now? 3, let's do 4 now. Addition. Addition and subtraction of whole numbers. As you know, you can easily add numbers like that. Say 3. So when you add 2 numbers, pretty straightforward. All you do is, so if you want to add this to this, you write the first number. Then you're going to align them Okay, so the ones, tens, hundreds. When you write these, you're gonna align the ones and hundreds and the tens and the hundreds of the other one, just like we did earlier with the expanded form. So the placement values must be aligned. So what goes under 3 or 4, of course, will be 3, right? And then the tens should go under the tens, should go here. Not here. If you put this a little further here, it will be a different number. So make sure you align the ones, the tens, and the hundreds. If that makes it easier for you, you can always add zeros here in the empty places, just you could have all the columns neat and easy to see. So that's 7, 9, and 2. So no big deal, pretty straightforward. Another example is when you have, say, 8, 7 plus 4 and 5. So we didn't have to do any carrying over here. We just added everything vertically. That's our answer. Sometimes we have a situation like this. What goes under the 7 again? So we add in this to this. What goes here?
Under the 7.
5.
And then the 4.
And 4 under the 8.
Okay, and again, feel free to put a 0 here if it makes it easy to see. Sometimes people, again, misplace numbers and therefore they get two completely different numbers or results. Of course, this is an addition. So there's a lot of situation here. We have 7 plus 5, it's 12. We cannot write 12 in the ones. It has to be one digit. So what do we write? Of course, we write.
Right, 2.
Always write the ones. Carry the tens to the next.
Carry.
I'm going to carry it over here. Now we're going to add all these three together. So we're done with this one. I can cross it out. 1 plus 8, that's 9. Plus 4, that's 13, right? Just take one from here. Take one from here, add it to the 9, it turns into a 10. And the 3 left here, that's 13. Again, you write the ones, the 3. Be careful about the aligning of the columns. And you got to carry the 1 to the next column. So that's done. So 1, 2, 0, that's 3. Again, this is pretty simple. I'm sure you already know this. Just want to review it anyway. It works the same way whether you have 6 digits here or 7 or 8. Same way, just align them, make sure all the placement values are underneath each other, and then add up vertically. Subtraction can also be straightforward sometimes, other times not. 61, for example. So we want to subtract these. Again, we need to align the numbers. Put the first one. The second number does not have the second number does not have the hundreds, only has ones and tens. Of course, we're going to fill in the ones and the tens. We have 6 here. Of course, again, we don't have the hundreds. For some reason, we don't have the hundreds, but to make things simple, you can always fill the gaps with zeros. And just subtract straightforward. 2, take away 1, it's 1. 8, take away 6 is 2. 5 take away 0 is 5. That's done, no problem. We didn't have to borrow or we didn't have to carry over anything. Other times, this can be a little tricky. Let's say you have 400 to 1, and we'll subtract maybe, let's say 4, and probably 5 from that. Okay, so 4 to 1, we have 4 and 5. Subtraction, so we have a lot of situation here. 1 minus 4, obviously can't do that. So how do you go about doing this?
You borrow to the 4 and become 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put 1 at 2, it becomes 12.
Okay, that's one way to do it. That's the way I learned it myself. Here they do it a little differently. So instead of borrowing from here, we can now borrow from this one. Okay. I'm sorry, repeat that, Ashley. You're cutting off a little bit.
Can you turn the 1 into 11? I mean, you're gonna have to borrow from the top. three numbers.
That's right. So you're going to borrow from the next
So
digit.
you borrow from the, huh?
That's right. So we're going to borrow right from here. So this turns into
1.
1. And the 1 we borrowed from here goes next to this.
Mm-hmm.
And we read this as 11. So it turns into this. So the first number comes here, turns into 2 digits here, 1s and 10s. We consider this to be 11. Then we're going to do 11, take away 4, which is
7.
exactly, that's 7. Now we go on to the next, same way. So forget about the 2, it's gone. Instead of 2, we have 1. Can we do 1, take away 5?
No.
Obviously.
No.
Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. Where do we borrow from?
From the 4.
Exactly. Always borrow from the next, the direct next column. So this turns into
And 3.
3, right?
Become 11.
Exactly. So again, forget about the 2. We have this 1. And we're going to borrow another 1 from here, which goes here. So now this looks like an 11. So 11, take away 5. I mean,
6.
yeah, that's right. 11 take away 5, that would be 6. Yep, we forgot to put 0 here. You can put it or not, that's not a problem, because we didn't have the hundreds like here. Good, so 11, take away 5, that's 6. Nothing to borrow, nothing to carry over. Then finally we have 3, take away an empty space or 0 will be 3. Okay, so that's going to be a little tricky. So the reason, again, we're reviewing this because in this class, no calculators are allowed. So you're expected to do all this math yourself manually on the side when you have a problem like solving a word problem. So you should be able to do this really quickly and get the result. Okay, so the more you practice it, the better. A lot of it is pretty straightforward and easy, but sometimes you may get a lot tricky with the borrowing or with the carryover, as we saw earlier. Again, you'll see plenty of these in the homework. Please do that manually. Do not use a calculator. Show your work like this, the borrowing and everything. You want to make sure you got it and you know how to do it yourself. You know, calculators and phones can make us all lazy, but we first need to learn things before we can rely on calculators to do it faster. Addition and subtraction. I don't know, should we do a large one with millions? Let's do something like this. Just some random stuff I'm making up right now. And let's do subtract from this, maybe something like this. 4, 2, 0, 0, 1. Right, so we have 2 very large numbers here. But again, the same concept, just make sure you write your numbers clearly and neatly. 78, 004, 250. And align them. So when you align them, you want to start from here. So I'm going to start from this, going to the left of the number. So we have 1 under the ones, 0, 0. So this first group matches this group. Then the second group, you have 2, we have 4, we have 8. The thousands is done. Then we're going to do this same way. So if you don't have the hundreds here, think of it as a 0. Okay, so we have 8, 1. 8 should go under the 8. 1 under the 1. Nothing here, so a 0. All right, let's subtract this quickly. So 10, take away 1, right? Can't do that, so we're going to borrow from here. This turns into a 4. This turns into a 10. Now we're going to do 10, take away 1, which is, of course, 9. 5, take away 0. Do we need to borrow?
No.
We don't need to. 5 take away 0 is 4. Same thing here. 2 take away 0 is 2, comma. 4 take away 2 is 2. We have a little problem here. 10 take away 4. We can't do that. So what do you do here?
You take away from the 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
From the 0, it's at 0.
It's a 0. So it's not even 10 yet. So what do you do here? This itself needs to borrow from where?
You gotta borrow from the
Yeah,
one.
you have to borrow from A. No,
Exactly. This itself doesn't have enough.
that's not
It's like
enough.
it's like asking someone who's broke to lend you money.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go over to the next one. So this, if you borrow one, it turns into a 7. That one we borrow turned into a put that over here. Now we have a 10 that we can borrow from to give to the 0. So if you borrow from here, this
Become 9.
turns into a 9, and the one borrowed from here will go next to this.
Become 10.
Now we can do 10 take away 10 take away 8. Where are we again? 10 take away 4 actually. 10 take away 4, which is
6.
6. Still have that 10 left here. So this is gone again. We're talking about the 9. 9 take away 8. Luckily, we don't have to borrow. That's 1. And what is the next problem here? So we have 8 is no longer there. We have 7 take away 8. We can't. So again, we're going to borrow.
Yeah. Borrow
Exactly. We're going to borrow from
7.
7 turns into 6. The one we borrow, put it next to the 7, turns into 17. What is 17 take away 8?
So it become 9.
Exactly. And still have a lot of issue here. Now we have to have 0 take away 1. Obviously, again, we can't do that. We're gonna
Become
borrow.
5.
Exactly. We're going to borrow from the 6. The 7 is gone, turns into a 5. And the one we borrowed will go over here. So now we have 10 take away 1,
9.
9. Finally, 5 minus 0 is 5. Okay? Things again are simple, but be careful. Be very careful here.
Yeah. It's simple, but could be tricky.
Exactly. So this requires like concentration, organizing your numbers, your work. And once you do it often, you will get used to it and you can do it faster. Okay, I hope that clears it up for addition and subtraction. The next thing, let's see. Let's do some division.
Yay.
Right? Division and multiplication. Those are the tricky ones, right?
Yes, those are the trickiest ones.
Okay.
I hate those ones.
All right, so I'm going to make it as easy as possible. Don't worry. After this, you will become more confident and you will fall in love with your divisions and multiplications. 5. Let's do the multiplication. So the most important thing about multiplication is first is knowing the multiplication table. That makes things a lot easier. Start with just a simple example here. So we have 14 multiply 3. Again, just write your numbers, align them like this, as if you were going to do an addition or subtraction, but in fact it's a multiplication. The only difference here is we're not adding, subtracting this way and this way. Instead, we're multiplying. So gonna take the 3, gonna times it by the 4, and then go to the 3 again and times it by the 1. So whatever numbers you have in this line, all of them must be multiplied by these numbers here, 1 by 1. So 3 times 4, which is 12. Obviously, it's more than 10, more than 1 digit. So we need to write 1 digit and carry over the next one. Which one do you write down?
2.
The 2, that's right. Always write the ones down. Unless it was, for example, 3 times 2 here, and it was 6 by itself, then you can just write 6. But if it's 2 digits, write the 1s, carry over the 10s to the next column. Then, so we did multiply this, now we're going to multiply this as well. So 3 times 1 is
3.
and you add the carryover. 3
4.
times 1 plus 1 is 4. That's pretty simple. Depending on how many digits you have here. If you have another one, then you repeat the same process with that number. You gotta multiply it by these two. If you have another one, you do the same thing. But as you do that, there's one little thing we have to do every time we move from one digit form here to another. So let's look at So you have 13, you want to times that by 12. Here we have 2 digits times 1. This one, a bit more interesting. What happens? So 13, 12
Por another.
times. So I'm going to give you the idea first. And then
26.
let me give you the
Sorry.
idea. So we're going to take this 2, multiply both of these by 3 and 1. Once we finish with 1, we go to the 1 here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to times both of these. So 2 times 3, that's 6. 2 times 1, that's 2. So we're done with this one. Now we're going to repeat the same with this number here. But when you move from one digit to the other, so this line is done, you need to do something here first before multiplying. So what do you do exactly here as you move to the next line?
Add a 0.
Exactly. So the first time you move from one digit to the other, first leave a space or put a 0. Then proceed and multiply again, just like we did with the 2. So 1 times 3, that's 3. 1 times 1 is 1. And what is the operation here now after multiplying?
6,
What is the operation?
5.
What do you do?
Is addition.
Addition. So after multiplying all these, you may have one line or 2 or more. You add them. So 6, 5,
1.
and 1. If you have to borrow to carry over something, then carry over same way as we did with the addition earlier. Let's make it a little bit more difficult. Let's do maybe 3 digits this time. Let's say 215, and let's for some reason times that by 1, 3, and 4. Again, the thing here is to concentrate. Focus, focus, focus. It might be easy and simple, but when you take the matters into your hands and try to do it manually, you get into trouble. Even most advanced people sometimes can get stuck or forget something or unintentionally make a silly mistake. So let's do that carefully here. And at the end, as you practice, after you do it yourself, then you can check with a calculator just to see if you got it right. Okay, not to get the answer, but to check if you got it right. Oops, this pen again is slippery. All right, so here's the idea before we do it. So we're gonna take 4, we're gonna times it by all these. Then go to the 3, multiply by all these. And then go to the 1, and also multiply by all these 3. It's gonna be a lot of multiplications. Again, it helps very well when you know your multiplication table. It saves you a lot of time. So make sure you review your multiplication table, okay? And know it very well. That will make things for you a lot easier, including this multiplication here. 5 times 4, it's 20. What do we write? What do we carry? 5 times 4 is 20, so then write 0. Right, carry 2. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 4 times 1 is 4, plus the carryover, that's 6. So the carryover is done. You can cross it out so it doesn't confuse you with the rest. Then 4 times 2, just 8, 1 digit. Okay, so we're done with the 4. Be careful here. We're done with the 4. Now we're going to move for the first time. For the first time you move to a digit, you put 1 0 here. Okay, not 2. We're going to do that later. When we move to this one, we're going to have to put 2 zeros instead of 1. So the first time, put 0 here. 3 times 5, that's 15. So put right 3 times 5, write 5, carry 1 over to the 2. Then you have 3. Actually, you should carry over goes here. Okay, so 3 times 5, write 5, and carry 1. That's the reason why I crossed the 2, so it doesn't confuse me. So the carryover is here. Now we're going to do 3 times 1 plus what? 3
Plus 1 is 4.
Exactly. 3 times 2 finally is 6. All right, so we're done with this. We're done with this. Now we're going to move for the second time. Again, be very careful here. What happens here? So we're moving for the second time. So before multiplying the 1 by this, what do I do here?
You add a 0. down the 5. Down.
2 zeros, that's right. 0 down under the 5. Or in other words, 2 zeros. So if you move for the first time, you put 1 0, second time 2 zeros. If you have even another digit here, third time you have to leave 3 zeros here, 1, 2, 3. But for now, it's only 2. Now we can normally multiply 1 times 5. 5 times 1 is 1, times 2 is 2. Okay, so we've done all these digits. So we have 3 digits. That's why we have 3 lines here. If you have more, of course, you're going to have more lines. Finally, you're going to add all these up all at once vertically. So 2 additions here. So 0, 11, 6, and 5, 11. So we're going to write 1, carry the 1 to the next column, immediate next column. And then try to add these 2. So you can add it the way you want. I see it this way. I probably want to do, if you want to think about it this way, you can add this to this. That's 5 and 5, that's 10, and 8, that would be. Always try to find the easy shortcuts. Try to complete 10.
This is 18.
18, okay? So again, you don't have to add it this way, but 1 and 4, that's 5. Easy to add to the 5, that's 10, which is also easy to add to the 8, which is 18. It's easier probably than to do 1 times 1 plus 8, which is 9. Then you're thinking about here, 13 maybe, 18. So try to find shortcuts to add your stuff. Otherwise, you can do it on the side here. Or use your hands, use bars, whatever you want to use. It's not a problem. 18, so we're going to write 8, carry the 1. Then we're going to add these together. So
8.
that's right, 8. Finally, the 2. And that's our answer. Let me check with the calculator. I make mistakes too. We all make mistakes. So until I confirm it with the calculator, I'm not sure yet. 1, 3, 4. So 2, that's exactly right. Okay. So again, precision. Focus, get your precise answer. A lot of people, regardless of their level, may not do this accurately. I know it takes some time, a little bit, a lot of time. Sometimes it takes some energy, it takes some focus. So the more you do it, the easier it will become. That's multiplication. Does that make sense for multiplication, guys? Do you feel comfortable with multiplication now?
Yeah, I know.
No, I don't. Some people got it, but I don't got it.
You still didn't get
It's
it?
okay, you can move on. So I can study it.
No, I'll do another one. So the first couple examples were probably easier, right? The first couple problems, Stephanie, those weren't bad, right? Let me try.
Yes, it was easier.
Yeah, these two are pretty straightforward. I understand the more digits you have here, probably the more difficult it will get. But let's do one more. Do one more example before we move on to the division. Let's do this one with just maybe something like this and maybe 1/5. So 243 times 15. So again, you want to write your first number, whatever it might be. Usually you could write the number with the most digits here. This one has 3 digits. We can write it first. Probably easier. Multiply. And again, make sure you align these here. So we have 5 and 1. If it helps, you can add 0 here. But with multiplication, no need to do that. All right, Stephanie, here we go again. So we're going to take the 5. We're going to times it by 5, by 3. Then we're going to times it by 4. Then we're going to times it by 2. That's the idea. Once we finish with 5, we're going to repeat the same process with 1. So let's start with 5. 5 times 3. Stephanie, what's 5 times 3?
You said 5 times 3?
Mm-hmm.
5 times 3 is 15.
15, that's right. So which digit from here do I write here?
You write the 5.
Exactly. 5. What do you do with the 1?
You carry it.
Where exactly do I put it? Next to which digit? On top.
The second one.
Exactly. And the column that's next to immediately next to the 3. All right, so it times 5 by 3. Now what do I do? 5 times what? So we did 5 times 3 then. 5 times 4. 5 times 4, that's 20. Plus the carryover, that's 21. Okay, same way, so we're going to write the 1s and carry the 10s. We're going to write the 1s
Okay.
here. Carry the 10s over which digit? Over
You
the
carry this.
2, right?
Okay.
All right, so we put it right over here. Since we're finished with the 1, let's cross it out because we may need to carry something over again. We don't want to confuse it with the rest, so cross that out. So 5 times 4 we did. Now we're going to do, what do we do next, Stephanie? 5 times what?
5 times 3. Okay.
No, we did 5, 3. We did 5, 4.
Now we're going to do 5 times 2.
Okay, that's 10. And then what do we add to it?
We add 2. So that's
Exactly.
going to be 12.
Exactly. So 12. Since we don't have any more digits, we're just going to write the whole 12 because we don't have another column to carry over to. Good. So we're done with the 5. What do you think we do next, Stephanie?
So you add a 0?
Exactly. So we're going to add 0 under which digit?
The 5.
Exactly, the first one. Very good. And then what do we do with the 1 now?
Oh, you multiply by 3?
That's right, by 3, then by 4, then by 2. And we're almost done. So 1 times 3, that's 3. So anything times 1 is itself. 1 times 2, again, cross this out, it doesn't confuse us. 1 times 2 is 2. All right, what is the next or the final operation here?
You add.
Exactly, add vertically. We got a 5, 4, 8, and 3. And that's it. That's your multiplication. Again,
Is 6, Professor.
oh, I'm sorry, 6, right? Yes, always check. As you can see, it's easy to make a mistake here. Sometimes you get distracted by things and you can make easy mistakes. See, that's the only mistake that I made here. So I was still thinking about multiplication when I did it. Right, so again, that's the reason why I tell you to practice. 24 is 6. Let me just make sure with the calculator. So it's 243 times 15. So that's 3645. All right, that's good. All right, again, practice. You'll see plenty of these. Okay, Tiffany, that's basically how it goes. It's pretty much the same thing for every problem. Just
So when you add in 3 digits, so you add another 0 or you add 2 zeros?
Yeah, so because we moved from 5 to 1, that we put 0, but we don't have any more digits here. Let's say for some reason, maybe we had another number here. And when you move from the 1 to the 7, this time you're gonna put 2 zeros, not just 1.
Okay, that's why I was getting lost at. All right, thank you.
Oh, okay, that's this problem. We actually did 3 here. So if you have another one, you're gonna put 2 here, then you start multiplying. 7, 3, some 4, some 7, 2. But in this case, we don't have that. We put it back. That's the multiplication. And finally, we got a couple minutes. Let's see if we can do the division. Division actually is not too bad. Division is not too bad. Let's do, yeah, I think we can get away with that. Maybe like 5 more minutes and we should be done. That would be number 6. Okay, division. Of whole numbers. Start with something simple. 15 divided by 3, we all know is, what is the value of this?
5.
5.
5. Okay, let's pretend. Let's pretend we don't know what it is. Let's try to do it the traditional or the formal way. So you gotta have your division. set up like this. What number goes under these, under this, or inside of this
15.
15? So the first number always goes inside.
Mhm.
So 15 divided by 3. 15 divided by 3.
By 3.
Or you can say 3 into 15. 3 into 15. But the first one has to go inside. Now, here's what you do. You try to do 3 into just the one digit into 1 and see if it goes into it.
Mhm.
Does 3 go into 1?
No.
It does not. So now we're going to consider 2 digits. How many times does 3 go into 15? You said it's 5. 5 times 3 is 15. And we're done. What do we call this? This is a remainder.
It's a
Remainder,
remainder.
we call this the quotient. When you divide, the result is called quotient. This is the divisor or the divider. I think either is fine. The first number here is called, if you guys know it quickly, it starts with a D.
Because I know it in Spanish, sorry.
It's derived from it. Yeah, say it in Spanish. You may be close. Say it in Spanish.
This one,
Oh no, this one in Spanish.
sustrayendo.
Okay, something like that. So this is the
Sustrayendo.
divisor. This is the dividend.
Dividend, yeah, sustrayendo dividend.
All right, that's the setup. Okay, so that was pretty simple. We already knew the answer. We just wanted to see how to do it this way. Let's do another one. Let's say 7 divided by 3. All right, here's another one. So again, the dividend goes inside, 3 goes here. So now we're doing 3 into 47. So again, if you have one digit here, try to do it into one digit here. If not, then you try the whole thing. So does 3 go into 4?
Yes,
Okay, how many times?
1.
1.
Exactly, so we're going to do 1 times 3, which is 3. We're going to put that under the 4, not
Under
under the
the
7.
4.
We're only using the 4 for now. We're not using the 7 yet.
Yeah.
We're going to put 3 here. Then we're just going to subtract here. Just these two, 4 take away 3, that's 1. And we're going to bring down, so now 3 doesn't go into 1, so we need to make this bigger. We're going to drop down the 7 that we have here. 7 goes here. Now we're going to do 3 into 17. How many times does 3 go into 17? It's close to 5 times. So 3 into 5 times. So 3 into 7. That's why I said the multiplication table makes this a lot easier, because you would easily know how many times does 3 go into 17 knowing the multiplication table. So 3 into 17 5 times. So I'm going to write 5 here. 3 into 17 5 times. Then again, take this, times it by 3. 5
15.
times 3 is 15. What is the operation again?
So 2.
Subtract.
0.
So, subtract. 7 take away 5, that's 2. And 0. 3 does not go into 2. We don't have any other numbers to drop down, so we're done at this point. This point, this is pretty good. We don't have to get into decimals. We're going to learn that another day. So again, this is a reminder. I mean, the remainder, rather. This is, yeah, I always confuse those two words. 15 is the
quotient.
That's right, the Q. And of course, the divisor and dividend.
Divisor and dividend.
So this is how you write the answer. You say 47 divided by 3 equals the quotient, which is 15. And you can also say R for remainder, R what? R2. 15, R2. It means this is the remainder of the division. Let's do one last example. I'm gonna put this time a little bit more of a complex problem. Let's do 5 here, 7 divided by maybe 12. Okay, careful again here. So the 157 goes inside, 12 outside. So we want to do 12. So 12, we want to divide that into 157. Do we have to do 12 into the whole thing at once?
No.
No. We can do, Tiffany, we can do 12 into what? Instead of doing the whole thing, we can do 12 into?
1.
Okay. 12 doesn't go into 1. Then we're going to try another thing. We're going to try another digit. Since we have 2 digits here, how many digits do we need to try first from here?
The 5.
12 into? So
15.
that's right. So 12 does not go into 1. So if we have 2 digits, always try 2 digits from here before you attempt all digits. So how many times does 12 go into 15?
2.
No, 12 into 15. How many 12s can you fit into 15? Just one.
This one.
Yeah, if you do 2, that would be 24, which is way over 15. So only once. Okay, so 12 into 15 once. Now we're going to take this and times it by this whole number. 1 times 2. 1 times 1 is 1. And again, we're not using the 7 yet. That's why I put the 2. End of the 5. I'm not using the 7 yet. Tiffany, what is the operation here?
You add.
Not add. Just like this.
Subtract.
That's right. Subtract these. Again, we're not using the 7 yet. We only use 2 digits, so we're going to subtract these. We have 3. We have 0. Okay, so now we have 12 and 3. This is not the remainder, the final remainder yet. Yet we're not done with all the digits. What happens next? We have 15 here. So what happens to 7?
You have to drop it down.
That's right. So we finished with the 15. Now we're going to bring this one down. 7. Okay, it's easier when you do only 2 digits. You can easily see how many times. If you had to do the whole thing, it's very hard to see how many times, unless you do a lot of additions or divisions or something. All right, now how many times does 12 go into 37?
3 times.
3 times. If you can't see it, just say 12 and 12. That's 24. I'm not there yet. Maybe you can fit another 12. You add it. You say it's 36. Okay, that's very good. So 12 fits into 37 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to put 3 here. Okay, can always use additions on the side to figure out how many times a number goes into another number. So 12 into 37 3 times. So we're going to take the 3. We're going to times it by 12. 3 times 2, that's 6. 3 times 1, that's 3. That's 3 here. And again, remember it's always subtractions when you divide. You do subtractions. So it's 1 and 3 and 0. Finally, we don't have any numbers to drop here. So now, what do we call this?
The remainder.
That's right. That's the remainder R, and this is our result, or the quotient. Oops, the pen is frozen again. Here we go. Quotient of the result. All right, so how do you write the answer again here? So 12 into 157, 13 times.
13.
I write 13. And then?
Remainder 1.
Right, R, and what's left here?
1.
That's right, and that's it. That's the division. It works the same way. Always try one digit. If you have one digit, try one digit into 1. If it doesn't work, then you do it into 2. Same thing here. If you have 2, attempt it into 2 digits. Do not try to do 12 into 157. I don't know myself what it is. I would have to multiply and add before I figure it out. So when you do it 2 digits at a time, or whatever digits you have here, you do it easily one step at a time. Okay, I hope that clarifies things a little bit. I strongly recommend you to rewatch this as many times as you need, especially if you think that you still need some practice with it. Just rewatch this and then practice on the side with the homework problems. And the more you do it, of course, the more comfortable and the faster you will be at it. And again, you will need to know to do this faster on the side in the exams and quizzes, so you don't waste time. So the multiplication table again is very, very important. It helps you with both, not only with the multiplication like this. Actually, you kind of work backwards when you do the division. Division is basically just the reverse of multiplication. If you know your multiplications, you can figure out your divisions backwards very quickly. So make sure you learn your multiplication table from 0 to 10. You can look that up. It's everywhere on the internet. Just type in Google multiplication table, snap a picture, screenshot on your phone, and look at it whenever you get a chance. Trust me, it will be a lot. I will save you a lot of time. It will be very useful.
Okay.